Okay, what is an integrative negotiation? Okay, well, an integrative negotiation can best be described in contrast to a distributive negotiation. So a distributive negotiation has usually a single interest at stake, but that interest is finite, is fixed, it's a fixed pie. So it's mutually exclusive in that way that if one party acquires more of the pie, the other party acquires less, right? So it's a win-lose scenario that you're negotiating over. An integrative negotiation is different. If it's a single interest, then the interest itself is integrative. Or if it's more than one interest at stake, the overall negotiation can be integrative. Now, what that means is that both parties can cooperate in the negotiation to create more value than would otherwise be present in the negotiation if one party were to claim all of the value. So if you were to say 10 penny example and we were negotiating over 10 pennies, that's distributive in nature. But if you were to somehow magically make it integrative in nature, then it would be possible for each of us to grab perhaps 6 pennies, or one person to grab 7 and the other person to grab 4. Right? You create more value than otherwise would be available in the negotiation by cooperating, okay, or by working together. Okay, so to that extent, either the interest or the collection of interests are not mutually exclusive, or they're not finite. It's not a fixed pie. You can actually expand the pie by working together in the negotiation, okay? So oftentimes there are more than one interest in the negotiation, and sometimes those interests are generally distributive in nature, that is, they're fixed or finite, but the ability to combine the interests, to trade off among interests when there is a varying degree of interest by each party in the interest. So I care more about interest A, you care more about interest B than I do. Now they're both distributive in nature, but I may be able to trade off and give you more of your interest and take less of that interest in exchange for taking more of the interest that I care about and you taking a bit less, and thereby we both are able to move up our position overall than we could if we were to otherwise just win out on the interest that we're interested in. Okay, so that being said, an integrative negotiation is just that. It's able to expand the pie. We call it a win-win negotiation rather than a win-lose negotiation as in a distributive negotiation. Okay, so the key there, just remember this, the key aspect with an integrative interest or an overall integrative negotiation, you need to try and identify and isolate the unique value in the interest or collective interest at stake. Be willing to trade off among multiple interests there, but if you can identify the aspects of the interest that you value most, then you'll be able to trade off among them to let the other party grab more of the value that they care about, that they value, and you grab more of what you value, and thereby you lift all boats. Generally, you're going to see this as a possibility when you have, there are 3 types of interest you'll normally see, a common interest, a shared interest, and a joint interest. Common interests go the same direction, but a shared interest means you have the same interest, you just have interest in it to a differing degree. Okay, so that's what you're generally looking for in an integrative negotiation. If you can do that, integrative negotiations, once again, are allow for the optimal outcome for a dispute or conflict being negotiated.